So today's grammar lesson is titled, let's see, commas and adjectives. And then today's date is May 12th, 2021. So today's notes are called commas and adjectives. First, let's do a very quick review on adjectives. And they are, well, who can tell me? What is an adjective? What is an adjective? What is an adjective? Michaela?
An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun.
Good. An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. Yes, Aaron.
Is commas still out there?
Don't worry about it. Who can give me an example of an adjective? Come on, guys. An example of an adjective, a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. Lena. Come on, guys. You got to be able to name an adjective without looking. Just tell me a word that describes a noun. Anything. First one that comes to your head. If you were writing a sentence about a cat, what word would you use to describe that cat?
The cat is jumpy.
Okay. Jumpy. One that we haven't mentioned yet. Zadie?
Italian food.
Is Italian food an adjective?
No.
What is an adjective?
Tough.
Italian. One that we who can tell me one that we have not mentioned yet? We're writing's going to be super boring if you can't name an adjective. Michaela.
Blue socks. Blue socks.
Is blue socks an adjective?
No.
What is an adjective?
Socks.
Socks? We use socks to describe a noun or pronoun?
Oh, no. Blue.
Blue. Come on, who can give me an interesting one that we haven't said? Kingston. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Japanese. We mentioned that one too. Mm-hmm. Yep, we said Japanese, something that comes from Japan. Zari.
Cowardly.
Cowardly. Ooh, but, well, yeah, we could use cowardly. Cowardly could be used as an adverb or an adjective. Because if we're talking about the cowardly lion, we're using cowardly to describe what, Zari?
The lion.
The lion, which is a noun. Or we could say something like, your cowardly behavior is embarrassing. Then we're describing, or I'm sorry, wait, no. He ran away cowardly. If I say he ran away cowardly, I'm using cowardly to describe what? Smith?
A boy.
He ran away cowardly.
How he ran.
How he ran. So I could use cowardly either as an adjective to describe a verb, like he ran away cowardly, that's how he ran. Or I can use it as an adjective to describe a noun. The cowardly lion runs away. That describes the lion. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about coordinating adjectives. So we're still talking about words that describe nouns or pronouns, but we're going to specifically talk about coordinating adjectives. And coordinating adjectives are adjectives that describe, no, that's fine. Adjectives that describe the same noun and have equal importance. So coordinating adjectives are two or more adjectives that are used to describe the same noun in a sentence and have the same amount of importance. One adjective is not more important than the other. Yes?
In this whole list, is that the definition for it?
Yes.
I thought you could use, like, the same word in the definition.
Well, you have to use adjectives because that's the part of speech we're talking about. But coordinating adjectives are adjectives that describe the same noun and have equal importance. So we already described adjectives here. We don't need to rewrite a word that describes a noun or a pronoun, or two or more words that describe a noun or pronoun that describe the same noun and have equal importance. We don't have to repeat those words because we have it right here. It's like when we learned about clauses. We defined clause, and then we said what independent clauses were. We said a clause that can stand alone, and dependent clauses, a clause that can't stand alone, because we already had the word clause defined right above. It's only if I don't know what one of those words mean. That's when we can't use the same word. Yes?
I can kind of answer Zay's question too.
Well, we already answered it, so we can move on. Okay, so for example, we went on a wild, expensive vacation. We went on a wild, expensive vacation. The coordinating adjectives are wild and expensive. What do you notice between these two coordinating adjectives? Sadie? A comma. But I thought you only had to put a comma between a series of 3 or more items. Well, when it comes to coordinating adjectives, they either need the word and or a comma between them. It would also make sense to say we went on a wild and expensive vacation. I think I said the word exciting, but I wrote expensive, but either way it works. I could say we went on a wild and expensive vacation, and it would mean the same thing, right? But if I have coordinating adjectives, sometimes I can leave out that word and. Like, we went on a wild, expensive vacation. Both of these adjectives are used to describe what noun? Michaela?
The vacation.
The vacation. So, I wish I'd erased this first and then done this, but I will. Coordinating adjectives must have a comma or the word and between them. Coordinating adjectives must have a comma or the word and between them. They can't have neither. So we can't say we went on a wild, expensive vacation with no comma. We have to put that comma there. We have to imagine that little pause. We went on a wild, expensive vacation. We can't say we went on a wild, expensive vacation. We have to have that comma to show that little pause. So coordinating adjectives must have a comma or the word and between them. Now there are some exceptions, which we're going to write in just a minute. I'm going to have to erase. I wish I'd erased this and rewrote that. So coordinating adjectives are adjectives that describe the same noun and have equal importance. Like, we went on a wild, expensive vacation. Coordinating adjectives must have a comma or the word and between them. This sentence would work with either the comma, that short little pause, or the word and. We went on a wild, expensive vacation, or we went on a wild and expensive vacation. They both work. But now, not all adjectives, when you have two in a sentence, are coordinating adjectives. This is a sentence. So kind of say what I'm saying, then if you need to, or write what I'm saying, and then if you need to spell it or you forgot, then look up. Coordinating adjectives make sense if you put the word and between. So coordinating adjectives make sense if you put the word and between them, like the sentence we just said. We went on a wild and expensive vacation. Coordinating adjectives make sense if you put the word and between them, like we went on a wild and expensive vacation. Yes?
So, I don't want to change anything, but couldn't we put parentheses around and to just make sure that we put and?
I guess, if that will tell you. Or you can say, well, no, because the word and tells you you're talking about that word, not that you're using it as a conjunction. The word and tells you you're just talking about the word, not that you're using and to combine two things. So coordinating adjectives make sense if you put the word and between them. They also make sense if you flip the adjectives. And I'll write an example of what that means. They also make sense if you flip the adjectives. So they make sense if you put the word and between them, like we went on a wild and expensive vacation. But they also make sense if you flip the adjectives. That means put them in the opposite order. And I'll write the example using that same sentence from before. I'll go ahead and write that so that you can see. The example is, oops, we went on an expensive, wild vacation. We're still using expensive and wild to describe vacation, but we flipped the order. But it still sounds right. We went on an expensive, wild vacation. Yes.
When you put they all make sense if you flip the adjectives, you put a little space between and adjectives, but we all know.
What are you trying to
In the word adjectives, there's a little space.
Yeah, well, that's just because that's handwriting. They also make sense if you flip the adjective. So instead of saying we went on a wild, expensive vacation, we can also say we went on an expensive, wild vacation. It still makes sense. So if you can use the word and between the adjectives, and you can flip them, and it still makes sense, they are coordinating adjectives. If you cannot do these things, they are not coordinating adjectives. And I will write the exceptions so you know without even having to think of these things. Is everybody ready for me to put the next part? Exceptions. Which means not coordinating adjectives. These are the exceptions. Remember, exceptions means you don't follow the same rule. It's like when you say, you put a comma between the adjectives, except when the base word of exceptions is except. And we have 2 exceptions with an example each time. And then we're going to do the guided practice. So exceptions, the things that are not coordinating conjunctions. Do not use commas between adjectives that describe color, size, or age. Do not use commas between adjectives that describe color, size, or age. Okay, Carl, put it on my desk. And then just, you'll have to watch the video to take the notes.
Okay.
And then, but you can do the guided practice with us.
Okay.
So do not use commas between adjectives that describe color, size, or age. Yes, Zari.
How do you spell
Exceptions.
exceptions?
EXCEPTIONS. EXCEPTIONS.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For example, we live in a big old house. Big describes size, old describes age, so we're not going to use a comma. They are big and old are not coordinating adjectives. We do not use a comma. They are not equally important. They do both describe the same thing. What do they describe? Colin?
A house.
A house. But they aren't the same importance. So it sounds a little funny if we say we live in an old big house. Sounds a little bit funny. Not super funny, but a little bit funny if we say we live in an old big house. If you think about it, you mostly hear people say we live in a big old house. Yes? Yes?
Do you want me to close the door?
That's okay. We'll worry about it later. One more exception. Do not use commas between common and proper adjectives. So we do not put a comma between common and proper adjectives. If we are using more than one adjective to describe something and one is common and the other is proper, we do not put a comma between them. Yes, Carla?
Do you want me to write down?
Nope,
the notes
just
on it?
you'll watch the video tonight.
Okay.
Because there's more than just this. There was stuff before this too.
Okay.
For example, and this is the last note we're going to take. We ate tasty Chinese food. We ate tasty Chinese food. What are our two adjectives in this sentence? Carla?
Tasty and Chinese.
Tasty and Chinese. Tasty and Chinese are being used to describe what noun? Zadie. Food. We do not use a comma. Part of it, listen to this sentence. We ate Chinese tasty food. That sounds a little odd, doesn't it? And if we say we ate tasty and Chinese food, that sounds a little odd. It feels like something different should come after tasty, right? If I said we ate tasty and Chinese food, you're kind of thinking there should be another noun after tasty before and. So for both of these, if you flip them, if you flip the adjectives, like we said here, they don't quite sound right. We live in an old big house. We ate Chinese tasty food. It doesn't sound quite right. It sounds a little off. So that can help you to decide, okay, these are not coordinating adjectives. That sounds a little weird. maybe not super weird, but there's just a little part of you that's like, doesn't sound quite right. But if we do it with this one, we went on an expensive wild vacation. It sounds just as normal as if you said we went on a wild expensive vacation. If you use the word and, we went on a wild and expensive vacation. You're not thinking a wild what and an expensive vacation. You're automatically thinking, oh, the vacation was wild and expensive. Whereas here, you're like, we live in a big and old house. A big what and an old house? A big room and an old house? Or we ate tasty and Chinese food. You're like, tasty what and Chinese food? Tasty donuts and Chinese food? So, if you're not sure and you're like, neither of those sounded odd to me, well, look at these rules. Do not use commas between adjectives that describe color, like blue, green, brown, pink, red, orange, whatever, indigo. Size, like big, small, tiny, massive, mega, humongous, minuscule. Or age, old, young, babyish, teenager-ish, teenage, preteenish, whatever. Okay, you're starting to name nouns. Please think before you, because you're starting to name nouns. Teenager is a noun. Preteen is a noun. Toddler is a noun. We're talking about adjective. So you can change those words like toddlerish or babyish, but you can't just say, his behavior was so toddler today. That doesn't make sense. But his behavior was so toddlerish today. Then you know what they're talking about. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do our guided practice. We have two sides to it. On one side, we are going to identify adjectives. We're going to have some practice with that. If there's more than one adjective, we have to figure out, are they coordinating adjectives and they need a comma? Or are they not coordinating adjectives and they don't need a comma? We're going to look at the side that says GP1 first. Now on this one, we're going to be identifying adjectives. Once we identify them, if there's more than one, we need to figure out, are they coordinating? We need to follow those rules. Do we put a comma or do we not? Do they describe age, size, or color, which we would not put commas? Or are they common and a proper adjective, which we would not put comma? Or are they anything else? So, number one, read the first bullet point. Aaron.
Adjectives are words that describe nouns or pronouns. For example, adjectives may tell what a noun or pronoun looks, sounds, smells, tastes, feels like.
Good. Read the second bullet point, Colin.
Adjectives may be placed before a noun or pronoun. Adjectives may come after the word and the.
Michaela, read the third bullet point.
Adjectives may follow a linking verb.
And Mason, read the last bullet point.
Use commas to separate three or more adjectives in the series.
Good. So, the directions say, read the sentences below. Write each adjective on the line provided. Some sentences may have more than one adjective. We are adding another instruction since we're doing it together. If they are coordinating conjunctions, we're going to put a comma between them. Even if they're not between each other in the sentence, when we write them on the line, we're going to put a comma between them. So basically, unless they describe size, age, color, or one is common, one is proper, we're going to put a comma. If even one of them describes size, age, or color, we're not going to put a comma. If one is common and one is proper, we're not going to put a comma. Number 1, Florida has big mosquitoes. Smith, what is the adjective or adjectives in this sentence?
Big.
Big. Big is used to describe what noun?
The mosquito.
The mosquitoes. Very good. Are there any more?
No.
Nope. So let's move on. Number 2. That's me. Victoria, Miss Franny wanted a little house with lots of books. What adjective or what adjectives are in this sentence?
Little.
Little. Anything else? No. Very good. Little is used to describe what noun?
The house.
House. If you're thinking, but what about lots? Lots is not an adjective.
I'm not.
No, I'm telling the class.
Oh,
Lots is not an adjective. In this case, it's a noun, a lot, like a amount. Cullen?
These sentences come from because of Windex.
Yes. Each grammar lesson goes with the story in the book, but because we do more grammar lessons than we do book stories, that happens. We start out on track, but then once we start skipping around or start novel studies, then it gets off track. Kingston, number 3. That short, smart woman is the librarian. Short and smart. Those 2 adjectives are used to describe what? Look at the sentence. Remember, where do we see the nouns that adjectives describe? We either see them after, we either see the adjective before the noun or pronoun, or we see the adjective after a linking verb. Woman. They describe the woman. The woman does happen to be a librarian, but in this sentence, short and smart are used to describe a woman. Now, Kingston, I noticed that one of those adjectives does describe size. But do both of them describe size? No. Both of them have to describe size, color, or age, or, a mixture of those 3, in order for them to not be coordinating adjectives. Kingston, since one of these does describe color, size, or age, but the other one doesn't, they are coordinating conjunction. Adjectives. So what do we need between them? A comma. If both, everybody listen, if both adjectives describe age, size, or color, they are not coordinating adjectives. They do not need a comma. Even if one does age and one does size, like the big old house. But if only one describes age, size, or color, and the other one doesn't, they are coordinating adjectives. Does everybody understand? So even though short does describe size, smart doesn't describe age, size, or color, so they are coordinating adjectives. We need both. Also, listen, if I said, that smart short woman is the librarian, does that sound off? Maybe you're just guessing and looking at my face to say, what face is she making? Am I right? Think about it. If we said the short and smart woman is the librarian, does that sound odd? The smart short woman is the librarian. The short and smart woman is the librarian. Neither of those sound odd. They both work. Also, again, the biggest thing that you need to look for is, do they both describe age, size, or color? Short does, but smart doesn't. So that means they are coordinating adjectives. They need a comma. If one is common and one is proper, that's all you need to look for. They are not coordinating adjectives. They do not need a comma. Number 4, she feared that she would seem like a silly woman. Smith. What is the adjective or adjectives in this sentence?
Silly.
Silly is used to describe
The woman.
the woman. Any other adjectives?
No.
No. Number 5. This book is long and difficult. Lena, what are the adjectives?
Long and difficult.
Long. Difficult. What are long and difficult used to describe? Book, the book. Now, I see a quick hint right away that tells me if they're coordinating adjectives or not. What do they have between them? And. And we know that coordinating adjectives make sense if we put either a comma or the word and between them. So are long and difficult coordinating adjectives or not?
They are.
They are. So what should we put between them because we're not writing the word and ourselves? A comma. Number 6. Zadie, the large bear had a strong smell. What are the adjectives or the adjective in this sentence?
Smell.
Is smell an adjective? Would we describe something as smell? I have a smell cheese today. Large. Large is used to describe what?
The size.
What noun is large used to describe? I'm sorry, what noun, what noun is large used to describe?
The bear.
The bear. Any other adjectives? Can somebody help her out? Carla.
Strong.
Strong. Because strong is used to describe what?
How they
What noun is strong used to describe?
smell.
Smell. So Zadie, do you see? There are 2 adjectives. There is a large bear. Because we could take out large and strong and that sentence would still make sense. The bear had a smell. That still makes sense. Adjectives do not have to be in a sentence. Remember, every time we talked about complete sentences, did I ever tell you you must have an adjective? Is that one of the rules? No, adjectives just make our writing more interesting. So if you take it out and it still makes sense, it's probably an adjective or an adverb. But it's used to describe the smell. We can say, he has a strong arm. Strong would be used to describe arm. Strong is an adjective. That girl is strong. We're using the word strong to describe the girl. It comes after a linking verb. Now, Zadie, are these coordinating conjunctions or not? Do they both describe size, age, or color? Or is one common and one is proper?
They are both coordinating.
What is the part of speech we're working with? What's the part of speech we're working with?
Adjective.
Adjectives, because large describes size, but does strong describe size, color, or age? Is large common and strong is proper? No. And I could say that bear is large and strong, and that would still make sense. That word and works. Number 7, the bear looked dangerous. Aaron. Dangerous. Dangerous is used to describe the bear. Any other adjectives? No, so we don't have to worry about coordinating adjectives. Number 8, Mason. Winn-Dixie had clean, sharp teeth.
Sharp.
Sharp is used to describe
Teeth.
teeth. Any other adjectives? clean. Clean is used to describe teeth. Now we have a hint. Coordinating conjunctions always have commas between them, right? And this sentence gives it to us with commas between them. So are they coordinating adjectives or not?
They are.
They are. So we need a comma. Because I could say, when Dixie had clean and sharp teeth. Or I could say, when Dixie had sharp, clean teeth. And it makes sense. Number 9. Also, does clean or sharp, do either of those describe age, size, or color? No. Number 9. Miss Franny's father was rich. Cullen.
Was.
Can you describe something as was?
Oh, no.
Please think before you just call it an answer.
Rich.
I said put your hand down. What word would be an adjective? Is it Miss?
No.
Franny's?
No.
Father?
No.
We already know it's not was. Rich?
Yes.
Yes. Think. Which word can I use to describe it? Let me think. The Miss Man? That doesn't make sense. The Franny's man? That doesn't make sense. The Father Man? Nope. The Was Man? Nope. The Rich Man? Yes. So rich is the adjective used to describe what? Cullen.
Miss Franny's father.
Miss Franny's father. Any other adjectives?
No.
So if you're struggling to find the adjective, think to yourself, okay, does it work if I put any of these words in front of another noun, like man or dog? Miss Man, nope. Franny's man, nope. Father man, nope. Was man, nope. Rich man. That makes sense. Rich must be the adjective. Number 10. When she saw the dog, she let out a loud, high scream. Zari.
Loud.
Yeah.
Loud.
Yeah, that would be great.
Loud.
Hi.
Okay.
What was the process, or who did you send this out to?
Loud is used to describe what, Zari?
We know
Her scream.
The scream. And high is used to describe what?
Her scream.
Her scream. Now let's look. Are these coordinating adjectives? Do they need a comma? Or do they not need a comma? They're not coordinating adjectives. So think of those clues. Can we use the word and between them? Can we flip them? Or do they both describe age, size, or color? Or is one common and one is proper? Are they coordinating adjectives or are they not?
They are coordinating adjectives.
They are. So what do I need between them?
A comma.
A comma. We also see a clue because in our sentence, it's given with a comma. Okay. Number 12. Michaela, the dog was friendly and clean. Sorry, number 11. The dog was friendly and clean.
Clean.
Clean. Clean is used to describe what?
The dog.
The dog. Anything else?
And friendly.
Friendly. Friendly is used to describe
The dog.
the dog. Now, are these coordinating adjectives or not? Think of your clues.
They are.
They are. So what do they need between them?
A comma.
We have a hint in our sentence. What hint tells us in the sentence that they are coordinating adjectives?
And.
The word and between them. If you have the word I want to head off this misconception. If you have the word and between them, you don't need a comma. If they're coordinating conjunctions, you have one or the other, not both. You either have and, like this one, like number 11, or you have a comma, like number 10. Okay, number 12, the bookshelves are high. Let's actually do the back because I think you guys get the picture and we need to do the back before we go, and then you'll have till Monday to do the independent practice. Okay, I'm going to read the top. Make sure you follow along on your paper. It just gives us a refresher on coordinating adjectives. Coordinating adjectives are adjectives that describe the same noun and are equal in importance. Ask yourself these questions as a way to determine if the adjectives are coordinating adjectives. First question, does the sentence make sense if and is added between the adjectives? Second question, does the sentence make sense if the adjectives are reversed or flipped? The last clue is, look at your notes where it says, do not put commas between adjectives that describe size, age, or color. Those would not be coordinating adjectives. Remember, it's under exceptions, which we said were not coordinating adjectives. Also, if one is common and one is proper, do not put a comma between them. They are also under that exceptions, not coordinating adjectives rule. Here are some examples, but we're not going to go through the examples. You can just look at them like he was a sweet, helpful child. Sweet and helpful are coordinating adjectives because it still sounds correct or sensible if it is written he was a sweet and helpful child. It also still sounds sensible if we say he was a helpful, sweet child. They lived in an old brick house. Old and brick are not coordinating adjectives. The sentence sounds awkward if it is written they lived in an old and brick house, or they lived in a brick old house. So, for this, we have to decide if the adjectives below are coordinating adjectives and check the box. Rewrite each of the sentences and add commas where they are needed. We can just put the comma in the sentence since we only have about 5 minutes before we need to start packing up. Make sure you can see your comma if you put it in there. Number 1, we went down the long dirt road. Smith, ask yourself those questions first. Does the sentence make sense if and is added between? And does the sentence make sense if the adjectives are flipped?
Not really.
Not really. So see, Smith is like, it sounds a little odd. And no, they are not. We have size, and yes, this is dirt, which doesn't really describe it, but sometimes those aren't the only ones that are not coordinating. Those are just the ones you're going to see on your independent practice. What we have in our notes, the size, age, and color, that's what you'll see in your independent practice. But the guided practice is going to go a little bit deeper than that. You have to think, do they really sound right? So if they're not coordinating adjectives, do we need a comma? Nope. Number 2, the quiet, respectful class listened to the guest speaker. Mason, first, ask yourself those questions. Does the sentence make sense if and is added between the adjectives? Does it make sense if the adjectives are reversed or flipped? Yes, the quiet and respectful class listened to the guest speaker. The respectful, quiet class listened to the guest speaker. So they are coordinating adjectives. So where do we need to put our comma? Between what words? Is class an adjective? Can we describe something as class? So would we put it between respectful and class? What other words what are the 2 words that are next to each other that we can use to describe things? Quiet and respectful. When you're don't just put commas between, you've got to think, what are the adjectives first? Think, what can I use to describe something? I can't use class to describe something. I can't use listened, can't use to, can't use guest, can't use speaker, but I can use quiet and respectful. Think of another noun and think, can I use that? Number 3, the mighty winter storm howled through the night. Zari, first ask yourself those questions. Does the sentence make sense if and is added between the adjectives? The mighty and winter storm howled through the night. Does that sound right?
Not really.
Not really. Let's try the other one. Does the sentence make sense if the adjectives are reversed? The winter mighty storm howled through the night.
No.
Still no. So are they coordinating adjectives or non-coordinating adjectives?
Non-coordinating adjectives.
Non. So do we need a comma?
No.
No. Aaron, number 4. They liked the fun surprise party. Let's ask ourselves these questions. Does the sentence make sense if and is added between the adjectives? They liked the fun and surprise party. Does that sound right? Not really. There's something a little odd about it. What about if we flip them? They liked the surprise fun party. No, it still sounds kind of odd. So are they coordinating adjectives or non-coordinating adjectives? So do we need a comma? No. Number 5, Lena. The choir sang a happy, merry song. Let's ask ourselves those questions. Does it make sense if we put and between the adjectives? The choir sang a happy and merry song.
Yes.
That sounds okay. Can't find anything wrong with that. It doesn't hit me like, wait, what? What if I flip them? The choir sang a merry, happy song.
Yes.
Still sounds okay. So are they coordinating or non-coordinating?
Coordinating.
Which means they need a comma. Where?
Between happy and merry.
Between happy and merry. Okay. Let's look at your independent practice really quick. Okay. You have, of course, these boxes that give you all the helpful information, including the information that you do not use commas between adjectives that describe size, age, or color, and the information that you do not use commas between proper, uncommon, and proper adjectives. You can also use these questions to help you, but this will give you the biggest hint to whether you need a comma or not. Remember, coordinating adjectives have commas between the adjectives. Non-coordinating adjectives, like these clues that they tell you here, do not have commas between the adjectives. It says, rewrite each sentence on the line provided. Be sure to punctuate the sentences correctly. There are lots of extra commas, and there are also some missing commas. So make sure you take out the extras and add in the ones that are missing. Any questions about this independent practice? Carla.
When you was talking about the box on top.
Okay, that's what, so it will make sense to you once you watch the video and get the notes, okay? Okay, some of you are not listening, and you're just hurting yourself when you do that. So, please learn from that, or just keep hurting yourself that way. Any questions about independent practice? Okay, go ahead and put that in return to school. It is due Monday.